sit. Good. Notice how I just said the command one time, he sat, I rewarded him straight down. He was actually looking in my eyes because I started like this and I went, good. You got a reward. Down, or excuse me, stay is built into sit. So if I want to step away, step in front of him, walk around, see him walking around both ways, just basic sit stay, which you should practice in a different spot every day so he gets better and better. We don't say stay, it's just sit is, it means to stay. And see how he waits till I come back next to him? Good, if he performs that correctly, you just give him another reward. He's waiting to be released. You can either pat your leg and say okay and he'll walk with you, or you pat his chest and say go and he'll be free. But if he gets up before you release him, you say no, and you just pull up with a little bit of pressure like that. His butt will go back down. Step back to where you were when he made the mistake. Make sure he does it correctly. See, so that was a mistake, so no. It's good to do this little do-over circle as well. I was trying to make him make a little mistake there. So do your little circle like that, reset him, put him back, no reward. But then when he does it successfully, look, good. I was gonna tap his top of his head so he'd look up at me. We're stepping away again. He made a mistake, so I'm just doing another sit stay, just walking around just one time. Make it real easy for him. We're almost done. Give him a reward just to finish on a big success. Good, and in this case, I'm gonna pat his chest and release him to be free. Nope, make sure he really waits though. Make sure he really waits till you pat his chest and don't restrain him. See how the leash is loose? Go, now he's free. Okay, bud, let's go. Come on, buddy. Down. And I'm giving a little help. The second that I said the command, I also helped him with a little pressure on the leash with my left foot. You never want to wait till he hesitates and then force him down. If you want him to keep getting better, just do everything at once. So you saw that I said down the very moment that I helped him with a little bit of pressure on the leash as well. Nope. Good. Stay is built into down, so when you say down, he knows to stay there no matter where you go, no matter what you do. He knows to stay there because he knows he's waiting for you to come back next to him and release him. That's the only way he would ever leave. Good, and if you're in a fenced yard, you can even drop the leash and walk farther away as long as it's a secure yard where he can't jump up and chase something and go out in the street or somewhere, because we're secured here, so I can walk farther away, do a more difficult downstay, which of course he's doing very well. If he gets up, you say no. Do that little circle, step on the leash and put him back, and then go back and do it again, get a success. When he's successful, give him a reward. Good. And then the way to release him would be come back next to him, pat your leg and say, okay, and then have him sit. Because when you release him from a calm sit stay, he keeps a bit more of that calmness that he's developing in that downstay instead of just popping up from a downstay and running around, which is what they tend to do. So you say, okay, he's still on the clock till you have him sit, and then you release him, go, like that, from a calm sit stay. And you see he's excited anyway, but he would be a lot more excited if you just did it straight from a down. He'd pop up and run around, and he wouldn't keep a lot of that calmness that we're trying to develop in the downstays. I'd like to break down the recall command just step by step, show you how to practice it, show you how I've been doing it, and how he does it now. Left hand leash, just put your left hand through the loop. Right hand reward, always call him to a target, and this fist, perfect target. Don't call him to a half open hand or this or whatever, because when you don't have food, which is going to be most of the time, especially in a real life situation, you're not going to have food, so all you're going to have is the result of you practicing this way. So when you practice, always practice this way, have food. And then when you don't have food in a real life situation, there may not be a leash, he may be running out in the street, just pretend like you do, have the target, he doesn't know it's empty, call him to come to you, do all the rest of the moves, and he's going to come to you. So the way I do it, if he won't stop looking at me, I want to toss a little distraction away from him, because you always want to practice calling him away from something. Don't call him when he's staring up at you lovingly. call him when he's interested in something else. So in this case, it's going to be a treat. Hey buddy, look up here. I'm going to toss a treat. He's going to run after it. Come. I let him get it, but good. Call him back before he turns back to me. And notice what I did? So now he's going back over there, so he's looking away from me. Come. See how I backed away? Good. I said good at the very moment I grabbed the leash with my left hand. Because you always want to take the leash, because a really smart dog like him will figure out, if you never do it that way, he'll figure out he can grab the treat and then run back. Just grab the treat and run away again. So always grab the leash so that he gets used to staying with you after he comes back for that treat. So one more time. Notice that when I back away, he runs to me. Backing away when you practice is really important, because if you want him to rush back to you every time you call him to come, you have to practice in this way that makes him rush back to you. Go. He's after that big treat there. Come. See how he's running back to me? Good. To the target. You can say good and pet him and grab the leash just like that. And then you could have him sit, of course, or you could have him not sit. It's up to you. I'm going to release him again. Go. But those are the important things about practicing the recall. If he ever ignores the command, don't ever repeat it. He heard you. His hearing's really good. He just is ignoring you for whatever reason. So you do a little prompt like that. You probably barely saw that. Good. It's just like a little signal, like a tap on the shoulder. He's going to turn around, look at you. He's going to see your target. He's going to see you backing away, and he's going to come running. So never repeat that command. If he ignores you, just do a little tap. He'll turn around, he'll see you, and he'll come to you. Works every time. Of course, this is a 6-foot leash, but you can practice with longer leashes too. If you want to practice at a park or some place like that, there are 10-foot, 15-foot, 20-foot long lines that you can use to practice the same way as this, only just with a longer leash. So we got Bear here, we got a big dog there barking. Come, calling Bear away from that. Good. Do it a couple more times. Come. Call him away. It's pretty intense, you know. Especially, I think he did have some leash aggression before, so come. He's doing really well. Good, we got this big dog barking away at us, and he's not barking. He's not really even pulling that much. He does, you know, Bear's so little. Just do little prompts like that. Of course, you're never going to stand there like this. Good, see how he keeps coming back to me? Once he gets into the groove and you've called him back a few times, it gets better and better. Easier and easier with him and barking dogs or distractions. Good, you see how he'll look interested, and then even before I can call him back to come, he turns around, comes back to me, and I'm always ready to reward that behavior. Come! He also sees a cat. I don't know if you can see the cat over there. The cat, she was just feeding the cat there next to her, and he saw the cat run away. So that was another thing he was interested in. So this is just an example of Bear being in kind of a high energy situation on the street. Notice how I'm never letting him pull. And you just do these little prompts. It's really, so much of it is about how you handle the leash. I'm not choking up, I'm not going like this. If you do this kind of stuff, you're going to cause him to be stressed out and cause aggression. That's what causes aggression, is that tight leash. That's one of the main causes of leash aggression. So I'm keeping it loose, and I'm also drawing him back to me. Come. Just with my commands, good. He's always breaking away from those distractions. Come. Coming back to me, getting a reward. So you just want to keep practicing that, and you see he'll get better and better in these situations. And of course, you're never going to stand in front of a distraction on your street. You're going to call him to come, and you're going to move away. So if it's you, come, call him back to you. Good boy. And then you step into him, and of course, go across the street or go the other way. Good. You don't want to struggle. You don't want to restrain. You want to call him back to come to you. So it's come, call him back to you. Good. And you can see he's not barking, he's not going nuts. Oh, hi. So why don't you give us a few minutes? So there's another car passing. The reason that he's a lot less reactive now is because we're not letting him drag us around on a leash, and that's why he's not having extreme leash aggression when he sees a dog. So if he does pull, it's just going to be like this. And see, I'm just letting him go right up to the dog. You never have a tight leash. If you restrain and pull him back, you're going to cause more overstimulation and overexcitement, he's going to start getting aggressive again. So use your command, come, call him back to you. Always have a loose leash. Get a success like that, and then just move on. That's the best way to do it. That's what I want you to do. I'm just standing in the presence of the dog to really give you, a full view of how much he can do if he's handled well. But you don't want to tempt fate when I'm not with you and you're just out walking him on the street again. You want to just call him away and move on. Just keep getting those little successes like that, and he'll just keep getting better and better. He's staring at the dog right now, but the leash is loose and he's turning away. Come. I'm going to do one more little recall. Good boy. Now we're going to move on with our walk. When I do a greeting routine with somebody and Bear, I always walk him up to the person. I have him sit about 6 or 8 feet away, and then if he pops up, I say no. Do a little circle, put him back, make sure he's really in a sit stay. I step away from him. I'm almost out of treats here, so I'll just give you some dust. Give them a little reward, come back to Bear, pat his chest and say, go say hi, go. He takes it out of their hand, I say, come, I call him back, good. I step into him, I have him sit. We can just do this 3 times. More rewards there. Come back to him, pat his chest, go say hi, go. He gets a treat. Come, call him to come. Good, it's a great way to safely introduce him to somebody new. Sit, we practice this every day. Now if he doesn't SIT the first time you tell him, make sure you never repeat it. You just make sure that you reinforce it like that. See, he knew I was about to touch his butt and he just went straight down. If he gets up, you say no, do your little circle. He's very distracted by the camera person who he doesn't know. And also we're in a new environment where we've never practiced this before. So that's why we're doing it, because we want to make it really hard for him. There's some more treats for you. And so we want to show you him doing it in a place he's never done it before. Show that, okay? Can you see that? So all these things are happening. That truck looked like it was going to come towards us and kind of spooked him a little bit. So this is, this is worst case scenario for him, but you're going to make sure that he's really sitting and waiting, even if he's distracted, and then pat his chest, go say hi, gets a little treat, come. So you can see how good. It's a great safe way for him to meet a new person. Sit. It's also a great way to practice his basic obedience in a different context, in meeting a new person. And so he gets up, no, loses focus, do your circle, gently but firmly put him back. Make sure that you keep him honest, keep him doing it the right way. We're just going to do this one more time. Nice little bit of treats there. Go say hi, go. Good. Come, call him back to you. So we're practicing the sit stay, practicing the recall, sit. And he's very distracted. There's a dog running around right behind the camera person in a yard. And if you practice this with somebody that you want him to like, you definitely want to do that, because it makes him feel safer if you're orchestrating this whole thing. You're having him sit, he has to sit, and he has to wait. They're waiting over there with a treat. There's no jumping. If there's any jumping or anything like that, you just call him back to come to you. If he gets up, you say no, and you put him back. Make sure he's always sitting there until you release him. And we've done this, we do it every day, and we've done this with a lot of different people. So he's just going to keep getting better and better as long as you keep practicing it. Sit. Okay, so he's sitting. I said it extra loud because I wanted to make sure through his extra excitement and excitableness, I guess we'll call it excitableness, I wanted to make sure that he focused and actually sat. See how he got up? No. And he's going to make some extra mistakes during this video because I'm talking so much. Normally if I'm training him, I'm just saying one word, that would be sit, doing this. He waits till I come back, and then I say, see that? No. Make sure that he waits. And if he doesn't wait, you go back and just make sure he really waits. See, now he knows. We'll be here all day unless he does it the right way. Okay. He walks through with me. And my goal is that he's not pulling through the doorway anymore, rushing through the doorway. So I walk slower, which is what you're going to have to do. And also you may have seen, so I did a little left turn there, close the door, which probably you're gonna have to do because you'll be by yourself most of the time. And I just did this, a little prompt. It's just like this and release and this and release as you walk through some place like a doorway where he's likely to pull, if you need to do that. And then here, sit, another left circle before I send him to his mat. And this is the living room where we practice this, and we'll practice it in your living room as well when I bring him back to you. And see how he's sitting, he's waiting, the leash is loose. With my right hand, I'm gonna pat his chest and say, go, and then I'm gonna say down. He would've gone down anyway, but you always say down anyway. Good, he gets a little reward. I've got this Natural Balance sausage that I'm using, cut into little pieces for him, little pieces for a little guy. And he loves this stuff. It's complete food, so when he's working and earning these little pieces, he's actually eating part of his meal. It's the best way to do it. And I'm just putting it, no, good. I'm putting it on the mat. He has to wait. This is his little nose here. He has to wait until I place it there and withdraw, and then he takes it. And I'm just insisting that he not try to take it out of my hand, touch my hands or my fingers or whatever. You have to insist on that. I'm gonna do it so that you can see it, so I'll do it to the side of him. So this is the way it is. Nope, see if he wants to touch your hand or take it. No. 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 Good. See, I think I had to do it 4 times. But the dogs are always extra excited and more nervous when there's a camera person there standing behind us and when I'm talking a lot. So it's kind of good for us to show you this is how you deal with his little mistakes in a more excitable situation, which is, it's going to be harder for you to do when I'm not there anymore. So here I'm showing you how to correct things when they happen to you in real life. So we got the reward here. Once again, no. Good, and you'll see if you're consistent with the way you do it, he'll fall into line. That time I just had to pull back once. And also when you first put him on the mat, it could take a couple minutes for him to get into the zone, so to speak, and you know, get in there so that you can do all the more advanced things you do when he's on this mat. And for him to reach that higher level of focus, it'll take a couple minutes for him to kind of get into the groove. No? Good. So just right off the bat, just the basic downstays, whatever he learns on this mat, he'll do in real life. So this all easily translates to you out in the yard, out on the street, depending on the distractions that are close by. But as you practice this, he just gets better and better. So even without this mat now, this is the kind of downstay he's going to have. So once I've done that, then I can start doing things that are more difficult, like dropping the leash and walking farther away. I'm going to walk past the camera person way to the back of the house, way back here, back by the kennel. You can hear all the dogs barking, I'm sure. All the way back and back in front of him. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, you always come back in front and reward the same way. If you made a bunch of noise or whatever, you come back, be calm, deliver the reward calmly. Good. See? I don't care. You're going to see. I'm going to knock on the door. I'm going to do all these other things. When I come back here, it's so much about the delivery of the reward. If you're throwing it down and you're moving fast or you have jerky movements and you're not calm yourself, he's not going to be calm. So especially with the delivery of the reward, make him wait. You see, we make him wait for like 1 or 2 seconds. It's just really good. There's that little couple of seconds there where it's just attention, waiting for you to withdraw. He's following the rules. He's in the moment with you. He's thinking. That state of mind is what you want to continue to work at getting to with this exercise and the other things you're doing, because that's where all good behavior comes from. And that little moment where he's calm, if you do this every day, consistently, that calmness starts to take over his life 24/7. That's the whole idea of doing this training in a specific way so that it starts to affect him when he's on free time, not just when you have him down. So you don't have to be doing training forever to keep him under control. That the training, because of the way we do it for 5 minutes a day on this exercise, in this mat, for example, changes him 24/7. It makes him calmer, less reactive. So, see, I went back there. Now, I'm gonna try something that's always been hard for him. And I kind of do it more dramatically, sit down on the sofa, so he's really good. Now, he used to pop up for weeks. He popped up, and now he knows to stay there. I come back. No. Good. So now I'll go over here. I'm going to go in the back here, knock on the door, go in the back of the house. If you're ever going to do something that you think is difficult for him to handle, before you do it, it's okay for you to remind him what you want him to continue doing. So before I go back there, I'm going to say, down. Remind him. Close the door behind me. There's a hallway door. Knock on the door. Everything's exaggerated because, good. I want to make sure that he's extra good, so everything I do with the knocking and all sitting down on the sofa, all that kind of stuff, is exaggerated so that he can handle the way it would be in real life. So far so good. So now we're going to try the real hard stuff. Down. This usually is very hard for dogs to stay there. And the male flap, you never know. A lot of dogs get super excited with the male flap. He's okay. So that was really hard to do, so I'm giving him a double reward. No. Good. See, no matter what happens, I'm always insisting he wait, that little pause, and withdraw, and good. Always the same way. So let's try something harder. Down. So we'll do a doorbell, and knocking on the door. That's the eviction knock. Good. Another big giant piece because that was very important. No. Good. See how I waited till I placed it there? And even though I was really vigorous about what I did, when I came in, I slowed it all down, rewarded him calmly. Really have to watch the way that you are when you're doing these exercises, because he's only going to be as calm as the person that's working with him. So you're going to develop what I have, it's just a few minutes a day doing this, but every day you do it, you get a little bit better. You got these videos to watch and just work on your technique. And this is just I'm sure it's been more than 5 minutes just because I wanted to show you so much and talk and all that. But if you just have 3 minutes, do this for 3 minutes. It's about the quality of what you do with him. Have some successes, always end on a success. If he's making mistake after mistake after mistake, maybe try to come back to whatever you're doing later, another date, and just do some simple things that he can stay there and have a success and end it on those. So it's really important that you don't end on mistakes, that you, no matter what you're doing, just simple stuff, and he's ending on big successes. No. Nope. Good. Always make sure that he waits like that. It's very important. And then he always is waiting for you to come back, stand next to him, pat your leg and say, okay, and then sit. In this case, I'm going to show you the front door thing again. And sometimes with the SIT, you got to pull up with a little bit of pressure. Never repeat the command, of course. And he knows to wait. I step out first. When you're doing this, you're accentuating the fact that this is your boundary, your doorway, not his. He waits until you come back to get him. He never runs after you, and never call him after you. It's so much harder. Nope. There's a piece of food on the ground. That's why he got up. So if he gets up before you release him, you say no and just put him back, picking up that little treat. He was going to go after that treat there. So it's really important that he wait for you to go through there. Okay, it's so much more difficult for him to do it this way anyway. Come on, buddy, that's gone. I have it now. Don't let him pull you through. So even if you have to stop at the doorway to make sure that he stops, okay, and then on the outside sit, and then you release him to be free after you've calmly gone through the threshold. Go, and now I'm going to give him that treat that he wanted on the floor so badly, and give him a little free time. Sit. Good. We're having him sit before I send him into his crate. Notice how I'm not restraining him. He's really in a sit stay. I open the door, and then I say, go. He goes in. He loves his crate. He goes in. He turns around. He gets a reward. This process happens multiple times a day. and I reach in and I take off his training collar, and I started using this little training collar. I want to show it to you. I'll show it to you in person, of course, but it's this little mini prong collar. It's the smallest size they make. He's too sensitive to just use this prong collar all by itself, but I found that if I hook this prong collar up to to the leash, and then also hook the leash up to his regular black leather collar, most of the pressure of the leash is taken up by the black regular leather collar, and this prong collar just works a little bit. The beauty of these prong collars is that they close with the same pressure all the way around, and so it's literally like putting power steering on your dog. It makes it so much easier for you who's never dealt with a dog that pulled this much. So much easier for you to handle him and just control him. And if you do this that way, over time he'll probably be desensitized to it all the way, and then you can just use it by itself. But it's always good to double up on another collar as well, because sometimes these prong collars come off and you don't want him to get off on the street. So if you choose to use this, and I'm just using it throughout the video here just to show you how it works, and you can choose whether you use it or not, but it's not causing him pain or any of that, and it definitely helps you, so it's up to you. I'm just showing you how to do this. If you're not using it, you just use his regular collar, or maybe a little martingale, a little cloth. It's kind of like a cloth choker, or just his black leather collar. It's up to you, whatever you want to use. But you want to definitely, if you're using this, double up on something like a mini choke chain or something like that, then in case this ever comes off, then the choke chain comes into play and you don't lose the dog when you're out on the street. So you always want to double up on a second safety collar when you're using this. So anyway, I just wanted to explain this to you. If you take this off him, when you take it off, you just hang it on the doorway. And his routine here at my house has been every night he sleeps in there. Throughout the day, he's going in and out, in and out, in and out, just like you see us doing it here. When he sits, he waits, he gets allowed in, we reach in, he gets a treat first. Everything's super positive. Treat, take the stuff off, take the collar off, one more treat, close the door. Every hour or whatever, 45 minutes, we go to take him out again. And I'll just repeat the process in reverse. Hook up this little training collar to the leash. We open up the door. First thing he gets, a little reward. If he waits, he gets another reward. No, if he tries to come out, you say no, and just give it a little token, just a little mini token slam like that. And then when he waits, a little treat. Everything's super positive. Whenever the hands come in there, you're always coming bearing gifts. Always, always. That's why he loves to see your hands coming. And then when I go in here like this, it's really easy to just reach in there and hook him up. And by the way, if you're using this little prong collar, it always goes in above the other collars. It's my fingers got slippery because I got his saliva on my fingers and I couldn't handle the collar. So that's why it took me so long. But usually it's really easy just to clip it together. And it's always the collar that's right underneath his ears. So it's the little prong collar is the highest one up. The other collar is below that. So you always put it right there. And of course, the leash is attached to, so I got the prong collar on, it was attached to the leash was attached to that already, and I'm just going to attach it to his little black collar as well. So you got to attach the two collars there. So also we feed him in there, so when it's time to eat, he's already in the crate. You bring the bowl of food, put the bowl of food in there, close the door. This door is always closed. It's closed when he's in and it's closed when he's out, because as you're probably recognizing with this video, this is way more than just like throwing him in the box and closing the door. This is a tool for training. He sits and waits. He gets allowed to come in. He waits. You can't have him sit or do anything inside there, but you can control his access in and out of the boundary. So he waits. See how the door's open when he waits? Good, he gets a reward. You're controlling this boundary. It does change the dog's perception of who you are if you consistently do this, because you're controlling the boundary to his favorite place, his den. Dogs are naturally den animals. For him, that's where everything good happens. We give him bones and chewies and everything in there. All good things happen in there, but the door's always closed when he's in, and so he can't just run in and out when you're not there. The door's always closed when he's out. So it really makes you more powerful in his life if you're controlling his access in and out of his den. So that's how we've been using it. That's the routine. And one more thing, sometimes when the dogs go home, if you haven't been doing this, they'll cry in the crates at first because they're not used to that at your house. He's not crying at all here, he's really quiet. But at your house, he'll start crying because he'll want things to go back to the way that they were before. He has anxiety just coming back into your house, coming from the place of ultimate structure, which this place is, back to you. It's kind of a shock, even though we'll do multiple visits with you at your house. That cushions it a bit. But still, when I'm not there anymore, his first few nights, he may cry a lot. I would just let him cry it out, because as long as you know that you put him out, as long as you know he doesn't have to go to the bathroom, and you know he's never done that here, it's just about him trying to get his way there and reacting, having anxiety about being back with you for a while, and it's about the extreme change in environments too. So let him cry it out. As long as you know that he was just out, he doesn't have to go to the bathroom or anything, and never respond to him when he's crying. Don't let him out until at least he quiets down, and then you can give him rewards when he quiets down and he gives up rewards, and let him out or do whatever you want, but never respond to that whining, crying, whatever he's doing, because it'll just get worse, because he'll think he can get whatever he wants when he does that, and he can make you let him out. So it's just a little bit of advice in case that happens to you. It may not, but it does very often in these cases, and so that's the way to handle it at first. And then it goes away when he realizes you're going to do exactly what I did, what we did here. It goes away because there's no payoff for the whining. He realizes it's not working, and then he gets into the groove like he is here. So this whole time I've been talking, good, he's been waiting, so I gave him another reward, told him good. Okay, see, he's waiting for me to give him the signal to come out. I'm going to do a little left circle like that, come back, close that door like you're always going to do. Then we're going to go out, let him go outside and sit. It's always through this door. Every time we go through here, all throughout the day, it's always a sit. It's always a wait, step out, step back. He waits till I say okay. And this time, I'm just going to have him sit on the outside here and release him to be free. Go, and let him have some free time, and he can run around and have some free time.